Hi, Mike Roby here. In my previous speeches, you might have noticed a pattern that I alternate my topic selection between history and food. Well, it's food's turn again, and today I want to convince you to cook from scratch more. Specifically, I want to show you that there's a lot lower barrier to entry, that it's not nearly as intimidating as it might look at first. I want to show you that it's less expensive to cook from scratch than to eat the same dish at a restaurant. And I also want to show you that it's a lot healthier for you than the alternatives. And as a side note, I want to point out, anytime I see a persuasive speech or article or what have you, it always stops when it gets to the data. It doesn't really share a personal journey, so you know not only is it supposed to be possible and better for you, but it can be done. So I'm going to share my own personal journey with you, as well as a wealth of data that I was able to find. And like any good journey for cooking, this one starts at the beginning. When I tried to start getting into cooking, it seemed really intimidating, it seemed really expensive, and it was really hard to just sit down and be like, okay, I'm going to start here, because every single resource that you have shows someone who is calm, cool, collected, knows what they're doing, and it's almost like you have to be good at cooking to get good at cooking, you know? And so what I was able to do is, in my research, I found several ways to get started. I started personally with a recipe program. There are a bunch of them out there, HelloFresh, Freshly, and the one I use, Blue Apron, where you pick from a series of recipes and they send you the recipe cards and all the ingredients you need to cook them in a box. And that really helped me not get bogged down in menu planning or things like that, or shopping. It helped me actually get better at my skill set and my palate, so I knew how to do it and what tasted good. But either if you don't want to get started in there, or if you want to go off on your own first, there are a lot of good resources on YouTube. For example, Gordon Ramsay is a fantastic resource. He doesn't curse nearly as much in his day-to-day videos. There's Food Network, there's Bon Appetit, there's Binging with Babish. There are a lot of good YouTube channels out there that you can use to actually get started in cooking, and that actually have videos to show you how to get started. But even on the flip side, you can go to a place like Google and search how to cook, and then your dish, or dish name and then recipe, and it'll give you 20,000 different ways to cook. But what's really cool is, not only are there a lot of good resources out there, but as I got started cooking, I started finding that I was saving more and more money. And that brings me to my second point, that it's less expensive to cook than it is to go out and eat. And just personally, I use a budgeting app called Good Budget. And in 2017, before I actually made the switch, my budget says that I took about 30% of my paycheck with food expenses. And in 2019, after a couple years of actually getting in the rhythm and cooking and planning my menu and all that, I actually shrunk down from 30% to 16%. I halved my food budget. And the research bears this out. A Forbes study that used an app called Wellio, it was just published recently, showed and what the Wellio app does is it takes a dish, it breaks it down to its component ingredients, and then cross-references that component ingredient list with grocery store prices. So you get a cost of how much it would cost if you went and bought those ingredients and made it yourself. And it showed that cooking from scratch is on average 5 times cheaper than buying the same dish out in a restaurant, which is insane. But even cooler than that is my third point, that it's healthier. As I got started cooking more, I noticed that I had more energy, more confidence, more creativity. I was able to go out and get things done a lot more easily because I had done it before. I had taken on a similar challenge, and I'd gotten over the intimidation factor. And it is healthier. It's not just that it's better at a diet, because it is. A Johns Hopkins study published in 2016 in the Public Health Nutrition Journal shows that not only do home cooks have lower rates of obesity and diabetes, but they also consume fewer carbohydrates and less sugar, even though they're not trying to lose weight. But it's even better for your mental health as well. A 2017 study published in the Journal of Positive Psychology shows that a simple creative act like cooking can boost your creativity, confidence, discipline. It can combat aging symptoms in your brain and can also combat short-term symptoms of depression. And just to bring all of that back together, I hope at this point that I've inspired you and encouraged you to try cooking at home for yourself. Just remember, although it might seem to be intimidating, that there's a really high skill gap, just remember it's actually a lot easier to get started than you think. And not only will it help keep you on track on your budget and finances, but it's also a great way to keep yourself happy and healthy and on track to live a better life. Thank you.